It's bonus objective time! I asked you to vote on a movie sequel for me to cover, and what was picked the most was Space Jam 2, or as it's actually called, Space Jam: A New Legacy. So, I think the short version of this review would be similar to George of the Jungle 2. It's an inferior version of the first movie that was flawed, but highly enjoyable. I mean, no one is denying what Warner Brothers was trying to do, but at least there was some effort and energy to the project. The sequel, on the other hand, well, let's rewind a bit. As I mentioned before, this was years in the making. It originally would have brought back Joe Pytka and crew to direct and animate, but they weren't able to get Michael Jordan to come back. Not helped by one of the producers allegedly lying about his involvement to keep development going. Thus, Warner Brothers initially cancelled any plans for the sequel. Possible spin-offs were considered, like Spy Jam with Jackie Chan, Race Jam with Jeff Gordon, and even one with Tiger Woods, though I think they're too late to try that last one now. Of course, even those were shot down after Looney Tunes Back in Action did poorly. But in 2014, Warner Brothers announced that they would try again, this time with LeBron James in the starring role, Malcolm D. Lee as director, and many, many writers for screenplay and story. Needless to say, and that's not considering the promotional stuff I'll get into later, whatever problems the first movie had were about to increase with this one. So let's not delay this any further. Let's shoot hoops with Space Jam: A New Legacy. Like the first movie, we start out with a young LeBron James, being dropped off by his mother to play some youth basketball. However, while waiting to play, his friend Malik gives him a Game Boy and Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle 2 to play. Why does this matter? Well, after missing the last shot of the game, his coach gets upset at him for not focusing on the game and how he needs to step up and stuff. Thus, LeBron ditches the Game Boy. What cruel person would throw out a working Game Boy? I know, right? Well, already we have some kind of potential character development, though if this were an original character, that might make it less awkward than having it based on a real person. Then again, the first movie was essentially an alternate take on how Michael Jordan went back to basketball. Here, this is supposed to reflect how LeBron behaves as both a player and a parent. At any rate, after the montage of LeBron's greatest hits with crazy special effects, we cut over to his home, where we see, well, not his actual sons, but rather fictional versions of them. Darius is meant to represent Bronny James, while Dom is meant to be Bryce James. This is weird since while the first movie had people play Michael's family, they were still based around his actual family. Unless here they didn't want their likeness or names to be used, then I guess that would make sense. Of the two, Dom has an interest in video game development and wants to go to this E3 game design camp. He's just afraid his father will say no because, well, he's had a no Nintendo policy for years now.
And if you're gonna be out here, it's about giving everything that you got, and not whatever that was.
We having fun.
Everything in between these four lines is work.
Who said I wasn't working?
This thing right here.
Okay, a couple things. First, while I can't vouch for his personal life, from what I tend to hear of the guy, LeBron is a lot nicer than how the movie depicts him at first. Second, while I can see professional sports being important to him if it means maintaining a stable living environment for his family, he really shouldn't be pushing his kids into something that might not get them the kind of career he has. Sure, Darius looks interested, but if Dom wants to be a game developer, let him try. As a parent, you should support your child in what they want to be. They have time to figure things out. The mom seems more understanding, but like everyone else, she and her daughter Shosa are just fictional versions of Savannah and Zuri. She wants LeBron to actually be a father instead of a coach and support what Dom wants to be. Heck, I'm surprised he isn't happy his son was making basketball-based games.
But if I don't push him, if I don't stay on him, all the distractions...
He doesn't need a coach. He needs his dad.
But again, it's weird to be using fictional versions of the real family to try and develop LeBron James's family life to this level. Michael's was only lightly touched upon since it was more about getting him back into basketball. Here, LeBron is too obsessed with the game and how he needs his sons to get into it as well, which will somehow cause the overall story to happen. But for now, let's get acquainted with the main antagonist. Hiding away at Warner Brothers Studios is a massive server bank with its own special universe called the Serververse. Okay, this is about as close to them being like Reboot as it gets. Where we get introduced to an AI program named Algorithm, played by Don Cheadle, aka James Rhodes from the MCU. Much to his name being a reference to algorithm, he's sorting out basketball footage to find someone, in this case LeBron James, to accomplish his master plan, to be more recognized.
Stuck inside the Serververse. No one knows who I am or what I do.
I mean, people tend to reference the algorithm for why businesses only care for the most optimal moneymakers instead of diverse content and the like, so you already have that. Seriously, I know LeBron is one of the more prolific sports stars out there who has contributed to improving the well-being of youth and the like, but it seems a bit of a stretch that this one AI program would single him out from all the potential big names, good and bad. Why not go for Elon Musk since you're both so evil and narcissistic?
He's an idiot.
Yeah.
Whatever, it makes as much sense as Mr. Swackhammer wanting to use Michael as a one-man attraction. And what year is this supposed to be? I guess the James family is ultra rich if they have scanning tech that makes perfect animal models. This might seem trivial, but at the same time, it just feels like Warner Brothers is overdoing it on what our technology can do. Still, LeBron is trying to bond with his son over the game he made. But it gets ruined when his character glitches out after performing one of LeBron's moves, utterly crashing the game.
It's gonna take me at least a week to rebuild this.
Listen, son, setbacks happen. Adversity is a part of the process, man. But if you're passionate about something, you gotta learn how to push through it.
There you go, actual good advice. Just a matter of sticking to it, given what we're about to see. He brings Dom with him to a meeting about a potential movie deal at Warner Brothers Studios, where they have Algorithm reveal their latest creation, Warner 3000.
Now we know you're busy, but we can make it very easy for you. Because our brand new Warner 3000 technology will scan you right into the movies. Think about it. Batman versus LeBron.
So, kinda like what companies are doing now by replicating dead actors using advanced technology so they can still use their likeness in media. And yeah, there is something to be said about the use of IPs during their example of inserting LeBron into everything, but let's hold out until a better time. For now, despite the optimism from Dom and Malik, LeBron isn't sure of this. Why?
I'm a ball player. You know, and athletes acting, that never goes well. I'm sorry, guys. This is all it's just not me. And I can't afford to take time away from the game.
I mean, I think the ethics of this whole idea would be bad. Not that he really elaborates on that, but at least we can leave it at,
It's among the worst ideas I've ever heard. Top 5, easily.
Okay, thank you. This is trash, this algorithm. You're canceled, algorithm.
oh wow, that was bad. As if the word hasn't already been abused enough to substitute the meaning of accountability, they put it in movie form. Algie certainly doesn't like that, but the meeting continues as Dom, who seems interested in the program, brings up how he wishes to go to video game camp, but LeBron is like, no, you go to basketball camp. And as that situation leads to another, Al has a little breakdown and wants revenge. All the while, Dom admits to hating basketball because of his father.
You never let me do what I want to do. You never let me just do me.
Do me? You think I got to do me when I was 12?
You're an adult who isn't tied down to anyone else's rules. I think you can find a way to live how you want and let your kids do the same. He realizes that they're on the wrong floor and tries pursuing his son, who goes deeper into the Warner 3000 server bank and gets warped away right in front of his father.
Dom. What in the Matrix hell?
Now, I do think LeBron is a better actor than Michael, despite that one Razzie Award, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have moments like, well, that. Anyway, he gets sucked into the serververse, and after freaking out a bit, the two meet Al G himself.
See? Nothing to be afraid of.
The computer's black.
Because if he were white, that would be accurate to how companies and technology are often built with white supremacy in mind. But we can't have a corporate-based villain like that, now can we? Al explains where they are and immediately takes Dom away so he can threaten LeBron into doing what he wants or else. In this case, he'll only give Dom back if
You and I play a little game called basketball.
You want to play me in basketball?
You didn't want to be in the movies. You wanted to focus on your game. Well, guess what? Now you can focus on this game.
I suppose when he's so obsessed with beating LeBron James that he'll do it at the thing he's good at, it would make sense compared to cartoon characters tricking small aliens into playing. Plus, computer program with the powers of a god. That might be a challenge, even for a normal person. Still, Al G wants to put on a show for all the world to see just so he can be recognized and will keep the two here with him should LeBron lose. For now, he sends LeBron to go find teammates.
Send this clown to the rejects.
Wait.
Seriously? Toon World is what you call rejects? Last I checked, they still had a considerable following, and even if we're going by what was written between 2014 and whenever they stopped filming, they had at least one show going on. But I guess the algorithm only cares for what he thinks matters. After LeBron is flung across the serververse, which seems very Kingdom Hearts-ish, he finally lands in Toon World.
No. What the? I'm a cartoon?
Well, I think they found a way to market LeBron James on merchandise with these characters. Disregarding any continuity between movies, it seems that only he and one other person are in this world, and that someone is Bugs Bunny.
You missed your cue.
Oh. Rabbit season.
All right, here. Now say, I'm hunting rabbits. And try to chase me.
Okay, seriously, I do like the animated stuff they have going for this portion of the film. This seems like the animators are having fun with the Looney Tune antics, and the 2D animation is honestly well done. Don't get used to it though, because unlike the first movie, it won't stay like that for long. So, besides the fact that LeBron only has 24 hours to find members for his team, Bugs, voiced by his current actor, Jeff Bergman, explains how he's been alone in this world for a while now because Al G told everyone they'd be better off exploring the serververse than staying here.
Well, Bugs Bunny, I need to assemble an elite team of A+ ball players to help crush this algae god. And I need to do it before that game clock runs down.
Hold up, Doc. So, you want me, a talking cartoon bunny, to play with you, an NBA superstar, in a high-stakes basketball game? Sounds awfully familiar.
It's a reference to the first movie. First, they trick Marvin the Martian to come back, so they can use his spaceship to explore the serververse. Meanwhile, Al G lies to Dom about what LeBron is doing by saying he was the one who challenged him to basketball, while also making it seem like he's the worst dad ever for treating him poorly. Al G is making himself look better by playing into Dom's interests and offers to help fix the character he lost in his game. This seems like the subplot in Hook where someone grooms a child to like them because their real parent treated them poorly, which could lead to an interesting story, but here it's just strange to have this for a real person with a fictionalized version of his family. And it's not to say the first movie wasn't already weird with trying to make up their own history for a real person, but at least it was on point with the whole gimmick of them playing basketball with cartoon characters. This has many more implications, like trying to rekindle family relationships. Speaking of, Bugs wants his friends back for the team since he considers them family. But LeBron is thinking otherwise.
We're gonna need the most powerful Warner Brothers characters for this team. Now let's see, who to get? Gotta start with Superman. Man, I could've used him on the Cavs. Ooh, King Kong, he'd be a beast on the boards.
Okay, this will be part of another point for later, but let's continue. Bugs attempts to explain why he remained in his world, but he gets interrupted for a Harry Potter joke.
Hufflepuff? I knew it!
Oh please, I'd rather go to the Mashal world. I wonder what house I'd get. Okay, but I wasn't kidding about the Kingdom Hearts comparison, since apparently they do transform a bit to fit the world they're in. This also leads into the subplot of needing to find everybody for the team. And what everyone is doing is taking up various roles for the universe they're in, like...
Gadzooks! Some despicable villain tied up the driver. Sorry. Unless someone stops this thing, it'll crash straight into... an orphanage. Of course.
Okay, that's funny. At first glance, this would be a neat little side activity that could lead to some funny shenanigans, such as how Daffy pretty much screws over their chance at getting any of the Justice League on their side. But as this montage plays out, another problem arises regarding the live-action properties. So, the Tunes don't change form, but LeBron still can. More importantly, it seems most of the time they just take existing footage and do whatever edits they can to make it look like they're there. But they hardly interact with the characters from the properties like with the DC universe. That and their choice in properties are questionable.
We're done running tests on your Badger thing. It turns out his condition is irreversible. I'll never erase what I saw from my brain. He's your problem now, dum-dum!
Ah yes, the perfect addition to a movie made for children. I do at least find the Matrix scene somewhat funny, since we have characters doing something here instead of something small. Of course, LeBron wants an actual player, and they get one from... Wonder Woman's comic world? Whatever, the last player is Lola Bunny.
You must pass these final trials.
I'm ready, Princess Diana.
So, fun fact, they were originally going to cast Kath Soucie to reprise the role, but chose Zendaya for her instead. Way to treat a veteran voice actor like that. This scene also comes close to being really good given how the Amazon trials play out. Of course, Lola only chooses to help her friends after hearing LeBron say he's trying to save his son. While she didn't clear the trial, Wonder Woman acknowledges her resolve and makes her an Amazon.
Now, go with your friends. Help them win this battle of the baskets.
I will help you deliver justice to the one they call Algie and save the son of the Bronze.
Meanwhile, Algie and Dom are enjoying their time with that one basketball game, and Al notices how at least one of the characters looks like a real person. Dom explains how he went to one of LeBron's charity events to get data for his game by scanning them with whatever magic app he programmed or downloaded or whatever the hell it is that allowed him to do this. It matters because now Algie believes that it's possible to put it on other phones and tells his AI partner Pete to steal the code. All the while, LeBron has to teach the Tunes how to play basketball.
That's fundamental basketball.
Fundamental basketball. That's what I've been saying. Sam, shoot the ball. Let's try that again, shall we?
And herein lies the biggest problem of the movie. The length. The first movie had a runtime of 88 minutes, which is normal for most animated movies. But this one is 115 minutes long, and unfortunately, this movie stretches things out to where it feels unnecessary at times. It's like they didn't know how to space out the stuff with Dom and the stuff with LeBron to where they could get the point across while still setting up for the game. Hell, we should already be at the game instead of meandering around. Which is also the downside of those earlier scenes, because while the idea of mix matching might be interesting, it can take up too much time before you start to lose interest. The only other point of the scene is that LeBron needs to learn how to have fun again.
But it's fun! You remember fun, don't you, Doc? Game? Blouses!
That's fine and dandy, Now come up with better material because Malik trying to find LeBron after losing him while talking to a security guy isn't exactly doing much.
I went to school for 6 months to be accredited as a security specialist, specializing in the securial arts. And the sooner you come to terms with the fact that you lost the world's greatest athlete, the sooner you'll be able to move on with your life.
Moving on, Algie helps Dom recreate the character he lost, which just looks like Dom himself. Only now he's about to become the character while receiving the abilities that his father wished he had. He does question Al insisting he play instead of just creating something else, but Algie makes a compelling argument.
Dads don't understand reason, Dom. They understand power. You take the power. You gotta make him respect you. You make him see that you are special.
So yeah, upgrades complete, but that's not all. He even lets Dom upgrade the other players from his game with other stuff he had, and, well, we'll get back to them in a bit. For now, the rest of the family is looking for LeBron and Dom. When they get a notification about the big livestream event, they think they can track LeBron with this, but before we see what happens with them, we first get a short bit of LeBron telling Lola about how he plays for his family, before returning to Toon World to finish training. But it becomes a moment where LeBron gets tired of Bugs fooling around instead of focusing on the game. Essentially, LeBron is being forceful like a king. However, before anything else can happen, time runs out and the world undergoes a dramatic transformation. Oh, so does this imply that if they lose, Toon World gets replaced with this video game land? So remember how I said not to get used to the 2D animated stuff? Well...
I say, cock-a-doodle, do not do that.
Okay, it's not that bad, and they are rather expressive. I just wish they could have stuck to their original forms for this. Granted, this is Algie forcing this on them. Maybe you can think of it as the algorithm choosing what it thinks is good instead of what people or creatives think. But speaking of, it's time to bring them in. Okay, we already established that this movie featured various properties Warner Brothers had, and even got to see various characters from it for the parts that, for better or for worse, match with Algie's vision of mix-matching properties together. It would also make sense that if we have those properties appear as whole worlds, why not have their characters be audience members? It would be a step up from the first movie by expanding who can show up. Here's the thing. This movie's trailer showed off the fact that all of these characters show up, and it gets you to think they might do something besides sit around. But no, that's all they are here for, to sit and watch the game. I'll get more into this issue later because we got the game to get to. But first, we see that Al used Dom's program to scan people that decided to watch the game and suck them into the serververse. This includes LeBron's family, and of course, for the commentators, we have NBA sportscaster Ernie Johnson and comedian Lil Rel Howery. Why? I don't know.
Ernie, are we dead? Is this what heaven looks like?
No, it looks like we're in some kind of computer-generated basketball game.
So, Algie explains what we already know about the winning conditions, except he's expanding it to all the people he kidnapped because they all happen to be LeBron's fans and followers. So they must be punished for liking him over Algie. It's so crazy compared to the first movie's plot that it's honestly the kind of thing I should find entertaining. Only a crazed AI who wants to be respected and known would stoop to this. And to have it tied to basketball and people needing the Looney Tunes to save them would seem too perfect not to screw up. But as we keep going, you'll see where the underwhelming part of this concept lies.
Well, at least we're good.
Oh boy. Oh, and I almost forgot. All of the tunes will be deleted, so...
This would be funny if it weren't for this predicting the Warner-Discovery merger that led to many IPs either being removed from service or before their release. Because hey, if corporate can decide what goes or stays based on algorithms or personal preference without a second thought, then this movie might just capture that. Especially when this is what Al G considers his best counter against our heroes.
White Mamba. Wet ball, baby. Wet fire.
Okay, besides them not having the freak factor the Monstars had, I kinda see where they were going with this. These are all avatars of the various basketball stars they copied and then modified to be better than their actual selves. This could have implications of AI not understanding that without the human aspect, these false players can never match the real deal. This, of course, includes Dom, who appears as well to be part of the Goon Squad.
I don't think he can hear you.
I'm his mother. He better hear me.
Okay, that's funny. I guess Dom missed the announcement about what Al G is trying to do to everyone, but he thinks that his father is over-exaggerating the real danger at play. All because he takes the games too seriously and never tries to understand creative talent. LeBron can't get to him, so his wife simply tells him to win and get him back. Okay, I haven't commented on the music for this movie, and I'm rather mixed on it. Not to say the songs they had were bad, but in this movie, they seem to go overboard with playing the same sort of rap music that seems to continually be tied to the sport. All to sound cool and hip. It's freaking Looney Tunes playing basketball. You don't have to go that hard. Speaking of which, the start of this game really tries to make a spectacle of how video game rules trump real life and cartoon logic.
Well, I gotta tell you, this Goon Squad is loaded top to bottom. Bugs Bunny gonna need a rabbit's foot against this guy, Wet Fire.
Oh, because he's wet and he's fire.
Okay, we don't need commentators. We just need cheap video game characters against cartoon ones. And yeah, the Goon Squad not only have their own abilities, but there's also things like score multipliers for just about whatever reason they can think of. That just seems unfair since everyone came in expecting regular basketball, not basketball blitz. Al G is an absolute asshole, but that could also have worked in a better written movie. Especially when, even now, when the standard rules do not apply, LeBron still insists on playing normally and not let his Toon friends be themselves. This could be the only way for them to catch up and win, but no! Gotta wait until the right time for him to learn the power of friendship or something. They get at least 1 point in, thanks to Lola and LeBron teaming up, but eventually we get a new Goon Squad character.
New character?
Here's our first Goon Squad substitution of the night.
And I need to time out from the movie, because this is part of my biggest complaint about the film. Them not taking advantage of the ever-changing rules of this game. We know that this operates on video game logic, and Al G can apparently cheat by adding in substitute characters on the fly. Right now, it's just for a guy who can manipulate time, but later, once our heroes make a comeback, they could give Al G a chance to cheat by bringing in characters that are based on pre-existing Warner Brothers properties, and thus LeBron James's team have a chance to recruit the actual characters from those properties. Seriously, all they do is stand around cheering or reacting in a way that's convenient for the moment. You could try to bring in some of them since you're willing to try and recreate even the live action characters. The most interesting interaction we get is between King Kong and the Iron Giant. This whole part is like a lesser form of Ready Player One. Only I wish it was Ready Player One because then they could actually do something. Have the two giants face off against giant characters made by Al G, and it would be fine because the Iron Giant wouldn't be fighting, he'd be playing basketball. This is the most over-the-top game you can imagine, and it's still limited by executive decision. This is why people say capitalism doesn't inspire creativity, when no one will let them be creative. Anyway, halfway point in the game, and LeBron notices how happier his son is with his own team. The Goon Squad is losing hope, but luckily it seems Sylvester found Michael Jordan. Aw yeah, bring on the Michael.
Come on, man. That's Michael B. Jordan, the actor.
So he's an idiot.
Yeah.
LeBron gets mad at everyone for sucking, but that's only because they're trying to play like him when they aren't him. And it's here he finally realizes that he shouldn't force them to be someone they aren't. Thus, he passes his marker over to Bugs so he can plan their path to victory. This time, they're going to play like they should have from the start.
Showtime!
Yeah! Let's go, Coons! We in
here. Okay, half of the stuff actually feels like legit Looney Tunes stuff. The other half?
Show 'em who you really are, notorious P.I.G.
What up? It's Porky Pig. They call me P-double-L-G. Step to me, he don't want no trouble.
It's just cringe. I do like the Granny versus Kronos bit, though.
Is the one.
But all the while, Algie is getting more and more upset, and Dom is taking notice. Especially once Algie blows up on the whole team.
Did I win this game? Oh, and you, Dom. How are you losing at your own game?
Well, gee, sorry for not being the god AI that you claim to be. One last quarter to go, and LeBron has his one-on-one with Dom to apologize to him for being a bad father, and that he has the talent for creating after all. They embrace, everyone's happy, but Algie gets pissy again. Especially once Dom decides to play for the Goon Squad. This makes Algie very angry.
Yo, King, you're about to lose your family, your friends, those tunes, everything you love.
So you got a bit buff. Doesn't mean squat when you can't outscore. Okay, this is what I mean when I say that when Algie cheats, they could take this chance to screw everything and just let everybody play. I want to see King Kong slam dunk his ass in the hoop non-stop for that one snide comment about him.
King Kong ain't got nothing on me.
So what can our heroes do? Well, Dom remembers the glitch that can happen by performing that one move that will crash the game, except then someone will be deleted forever. LeBron is ready to sacrifice himself for his friends and family, but before he can execute the move, Bugs Bunny does it instead. Just one thing left to do. Finish the play. So yeah, they won. Algie is seemingly deleted now, the tunes return to normal, and everybody goes home. However, Bugs Bunny doesn't feel so good. Looks like he's getting deleted.
How'd I do, Coach?
Bugs, that's the least Looney thing you've ever done.
You got that right. But taking care of the people you love is fundamental. Right, Doc?
Thank you.
That sucks. Oh well, time to go home. At least he got to see his world restored before disappearing. As for the James family, they reunite, hug, kiss, blah blah blah. And then later, LeBron surprises Dom by taking him to the E3 game design camp. He's finally willing to let his son be himself. At least we end on a...
Aww, that's so sweet.
Bugs, how did you...
Come on, you didn't think you'd get rid of me that easily, did you? I told you, I'm a toon, Doc. I can survive anything.
Okay, So, Bugs is not only alive, but he and his friends are now in the real world. That would make more sense if their world was still under the golf course, and not in a computer, but whatever. Credit sequence time, with the Tunes doing stuff with LeBron and whatever they feel like. Let's just go with it. So, while this is certainly the kind of bad that plagued George of the Jungle 2, it wasn't quite as frustrating, besides that one bit about not using the licensed characters well, or the overall length, but at least I had a bit more enjoyment this time. Seriously, this could have been a real so bad it's good movie. There were genuinely funny moments, and the plot is just over the top with its cartoons versus video games pairing that it could be entertaining, especially if they were willing to go the extra step by incorporating as many of their licensed characters to really sell the insanity of the idea. Instead, they just hold back and never take full advantage of those ideas. If they did, even the awkward and lackluster father-son story would have been overlooked a little bit, because this would be more interesting than what they try to convey. Aesthetically, it is a vast improvement over the first movie, though it shouldn't be the only thing that's improved. It's like Warner Brothers only did this just to play off the nostalgia for the first movie without understanding why there were those who liked it to begin with. It wasn't without a lack of trying. The animators did their best to make do with the 2D and 3D characters, and even got to show some looniness from it. But it's clear to see why the sequel is a massive disappointment. It's all show and no soul in its story and characters. Not the worst movie of 2021 or even overall, but it could have been so much better. I'm the Media Hunter. Media is my prey and reviewing them my way.
We will be better than ever. Made a promise we can do it together, and I ain't breaking my word. I just wish that I could fly like a bird.